Stop doing podcasts. Michelle Obama triggers new criticism. This is a suggestion via Discord. Let's go ahead and jump into this immediately, guys. Let's see what this takes us.
Right before Barack and Michelle Obama entered the White House, they had an estimated net worth of $1.3 million.
Okay.
Now, to most people, that's a lot of money, but according to Michelle, costs stacked up pretty quickly when they finally became the first family.
Mm-hmm.
It's expensive to live in the White House. As many people don't know, I mean, much is not covered. You're paying for every bit of food that you eat. You're not paying for housing and the staff in it, but everything, even travel. If you're not traveling with the president, if your kids are coming on a Bright Star, which is the First Lady's plane, we had to pay for their travel to be on the plane.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, again, the people of the United States of America should definitely be paying for a good amount of things when it comes to the president. Obviously, that's why you have a salary. But yeah, you have to still make sure you're not living past your means. Let's say, yeah, the house itself comes with it comes with the benefit of being the president and first lady. But all of the other like incidentals, I mean, I don't see how or why we should be paying for these things. So that's fine.
While apparently struggling to pay for all of those White House expenses, the staffers do it too, by the way. We have to pay for our own food. The Obamas somehow found the cash to afford a $50,000 a week Martha's Vineyard summer hideaway. Look at that.
Okay.
They famously vacationed here from 2009 to 2011. That is while Barack Obama was president. And the property boasts 8 bedrooms in the main residence, but don't worry, there's 5 bedrooms in the guest house if you want to stay over.
Okay, well, so what's the problem here?
Pool and a stunning wraparound porch. Now, that spacious estate is now on the market for a whopping $39 million. Kennedy, you have to pay for the food and all of this, and not every president who goes into the White House is rich. I get all of that. There have been other first families that have complained about it. But you're doing a $50,000 vacation rental every summer?
Yeah, you're definitely nitpicking right now. Like, listen, so I'm not a super fan of the Obamas in the first place, but again, you did point out that they had at least $1 million in their bank account, guys, right? You at least pointed out that they had at least $1.3 million worth of assets or some sorts. So if that's what their standard of living was, and that's what their standard of living was. But while still complaining that you had to pay like menial sums, let's say, in comparison to $50,000 a week, that's a little wild, right? I mean, it's a little wild, but you're still kind of nitpicking right now.
And you're complaining about roughing it?
So also, that 2005 number when they bought their first house in Chicago for 1.3 million, they put 200,000 down. They had to work very hard for that. But somehow when he left the presidency, they were already worth $20 million. So they were able to amass some scratch. And a lot of this falls on deaf ears because you have a lot of moms and a lot of different houses throughout the country, and they do have to pay rent. They do have to pay the mortgage. They don't have a staff, and boo-hooing that your 2 children that you have to pay for them to fly on your private jet that's just for the first lady's sole use. It's really hard to drum up sympathy. She needs to stop doing podcasts.
Oh,
she has done herself such an
them.
incredible disservice over the last year.
It's so true. I mean, Harris, there was a social media user that pointed out, the president alone, his salary at, I think it's about $400,000, is more than America's top 97% of earners, is what the social media user said. And they point out that his net worth he made $20.5 million, according to the New York Post, between being a senator and leaving the White House. So he was doing just fine.
Right, he was. And that's the reason why in his head, making that type of money, it's not like you and I, right, sitting here being like, yeah, our monthly rent is $50,000. It's not like us, okay? We're talking about someone who is making a ridiculous amount of money regularly. Okay, just understand that for a second here. So we cannot be like us poors, basically, do not have the ability to basically be like to judge what the wealthy are doing with their money, guys. Okay, not like that. But if they do start complaining, then that's a little bit weird, right? It falls on deaf ears in this context.
Dave is laughing. It's the American way. Some would argue. You go into politics and you get rich. Can we get an audit? Like, can we take a look at how that's happening?
Speaking fees,
or is it
guys,
none of
that's
our
what
business
it is.
and we're just supposed to be quiet?
No, this is some slight like intellectual dishonesty here. They also know this. They also are getting paid for speaking fees. The problem is, or not really the problem is, they're the president, right? So their fee to speak is going to be even higher, right? You get what I'm saying here? Well, they're former presidents. So of course you're going to get speaking fees, and these speaking fees are going to be crazy. Look at some of the regular normies out there. Ask them what their speaking fees are. You'll start to realize immediately it's crazy. Some of them are getting like $1 million, $500,000 just to speak for like an hour.
I agree with Kennedy. Why are we exposed to all these podcasts from Democrats?
Yeah.
Why is Biden on a "Let Me Fall Asleep Again" tour? Like, I just don't
Really?
get it. They must hate their political party because they're really hurting it by all the John that they're doing. I just don't get it.
Yeah, the Obamas went to leave that vacation house that they rented, David. They ended up purchasing a place on Martha's Vineyard.
Okay.
And you recall when Governor Ron DeSantis sent the illegal immigrants there? Stephen Miller had a pretty epic tweet at the time. Obama's compound alone could easily house several thousand illegal migrant Americans during actual natural disasters. Instead, they've been forced to sleep in stadiums and makeshift FEMA shelters. So why were these illegal immigrants never invited to the Obamas?
They called the ferry probably within minutes of them getting there because obviously you got to get to Martha's Vineyard by ferry. You know who doesn't take a salary? Donald Trump. And he's actually worth money going into the White House and losing money. Oh, did you say, oh, boo-hoo?
Yes.
I think that was you. I love you. I would love to get a perspective from someone else because I know, because he's been texting me, a son of a president, a former president, is watching the show right now.
Oh, cool.
Please tell me what it costs your father, Ronald Reagan, and the family to watch. Now you know who I'm talking about. This is ridiculous. You have a staff, you have security, you have all the things. You have $400,000 a year, which means you don't have to spend that money getting around. You don't have to spend it on Metro bus and Metro rail tickets and all this because they're in SUVs and come on. This is elitism at the top end of elitism.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you clarified about the president's son.
That's valid.
Because I was going to guess it was Hunter Biden who was watching, but Emily.
Tomlin, though.
Yeah, look, you guys, this is also, I think, so much of this is in the package that it's sent in. Meaning that I think the way that Mrs. Obama was talking, maybe if she said, you guys, I'm going to break down, this is what it's like to be First Lady. All right, so here's what it's like. Tell us. Yes, I would love to learn behind the scenes. But the way that it was framed is somehow trying to curry sympathy for someone having to pay for children on a private. I didn't even know that's what the name of it was.
That's how I took it.
By the way, Bright Star.
Yeah,
It
Bright
sounds like
Star.
an elementary school. But it sounds amazing. And at the end of the day, when every American right now pinches pennies every day and makes sure that their
Right.
their
It's
food
not
is
the
covered and all
time
the
to
things,
talk about these things.
Serving at the pleasure of the people and serving in the highest office of the United States of America, to me, represents something sacrosanct that no amount of dollars and cents should impede or make me feel sorry for the honor of being my president.
Right.
Yeah, I think you've lost the plot when you say my staff was paid for, but not my food. Okay, well, I don't have a staff. All right.
Hey,
Guys, the last woman that just spoke here, I think she's generally I think she is generally kind of the most middle of the ground person. I respect her opinion probably more so than the majority of the other people that are normally speaking on whatever segment this is here, guys, right? I think her delivery is generally always great. She's always on point. She has the ability to kind of see through the nonsense that sometimes the other emotional responses, you know, that are generally on this show here, let's say. Like, listen, this is the wrong time in our history to come out and sit here and complain, let's say, about you having to pay for your food while you were the president's wife. You get what I'm saying here, guys? Like, it's a wrong time to talk about these things. Period. Now, was it $50,000 when they were in office, or is it $50,000 now? That's a big difference here, guys. Okay, just want you guys to know that. That sounds absurd. All right, it does. Of course it does, because I mean, obviously, this is why they wanted to point it out to the people here. But again, how do we judge the lives of the rich and famous, guys? Like, how do we do that? Like, how do we actually actively do that? How? We can't, because we can't even like step into that footing to be like, you know what, guys, listen, I'm gonna go ahead and spend $50,000 a month. Why would I do that in the first place? All right. Someone who does that knows absolutely that their speaking fees can cover that, even if they just spoke once a month. Like, they know that. Like, they know that. You get what I'm saying here? That's a different type of money. That's FU money, guys. All right. I want you guys to know that. Okay. But either way, listen, guys, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. I'll catch you guys later.